Okay, so this is your second part to division, and everyone freaks out about this too, but I'm telling you, you got this. You really do. Everyone remembers the story about the battleship. If you don't, please go back and watch. It will help, I promise. At least it seems to have helped my class. So, what you're going to do, today we're going to add a decimal to our dividend. Not our divisor, our dividend. And that is because, well, you're moving on to big kid math. You're getting ready to do junior high stuff. So, again, imagine your battleship with your holes, and I'm going to throw in a decimal point today. It's one of the same problems that I did on the video before, but I'm just going to put a decimal point in the dividend. All right, so we know the analogy, the visual, the picture that we're using is trying to sink this little battleship piece, right? Playing the game Battleship, and we try to sink each little vessel with the little red pegs. These are the holes in the battleship. This little box right here is your battleship. These numbers are the holes. Now, when you go swimming, or if you've ever been on a cruise ship or anything, you will see these little devices, or floaties. Some of the kids called them floaties today in class. But you'll see these little guys hanging on the rails or on the fences at the pools or by the poolside. I grew up calling them a life preserver. Some of the kids called them a lifesaver. That's fine, doesn't matter, it works great. But that's what we're going to do with a decimal point. We're going to call it a life preserver or a lifesaver. And what it's going to do is it's going to get thrown off the ship and land in the ocean to help when the battleship sinks, right? So once it floats up, you have to pretend that it's no longer there. Okay? If that's hard for you to do, you can put an X in it. Whatever you need to do to pretend that it's not there. But when you float it up, it's got to go straight up, and you have to make sure that all of your numbers are aligned. Like, they've got to be perfect. You got to make sure that they stay right where they go. Those pegs have to be right on top of the holes, because if you move it and that decimal point lands over here, there's a big difference between $3 and $30, right? If we move a decimal point here, that would be $3. If it's here, it's $30. If it's here, it's $300. And if it's here, it's $3,002. And that's a lot of cash. So we want to make sure that we keep that decimal point, and always draw your decimal point. Don't just tap your pencil. For every math teacher out there, I'm speaking on behalf of all of them. When you just tap your pencil, it is really hard for us to see that decimal point. Even with a marker. I'm doing a marker, and it's hard. And it just makes it so hard for us to grade your work. So deliberately draw that decimal point. Let's get started. So we know from our previous videos that we simply start with the first hole in the ship, and we ask ourselves, how many times does 2 go into 3, or 2 times what gives us 3 or close to 3? Because remember, it's not always exact. We try to get as close as we can. And we've talked about how 2 times 1, 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 times 4 is, 2 times 2 is 4, and that 3 sits right there in the middle, right? Well, we can't go over the number that we're looking for. We have to stay under it or on it. So we have to use this one. So 2 times 1 is 2. So we're going to subtract a 2. Sometimes I forget to check to make sure that y'all can see what I'm doing. That means now I can put a peg in my game piece. It also means that I need to finish my math before I move on to the next hole. So 3 times 2, or 3 minus 2, my goodness, I'm getting tired today. 3 minus 2 is 1. Now, We're going to go on to the next hole in the battleship and the next hole on this battleship. But we're doing math down here. We've already done math up here. We've moved down here, so we've got to join up with where we're already at. So we bring that 0 down to here, and we ask ourselves, 2 times what is going to give us 10 or close to 10? And we're super duper lucky that 2 times 5 is actually 10. And that gives us 0. That also means I can put another peg in my game piece. I kept calling it a boat in the other video, and I kept trying to fix it by saying ship, but yeah, I just kept messing it up. So I'm calling it a game piece. All right, now I've got a peg for this hole, a peg for this hole. I've floated my decimal point up, and guess what? That's the only thing you have to do right now in 5th grade with decimals. Not hard. We're not going to do much else with them. We are going to learn to divide out so that we don't have remainders, and that's a different video altogether. But for today, that's it. You just float that bad boy up right where it was sitting. You throw it off the ship. It lands in the water, and then we just keep going. We pretend like it's not even there. So we bring down this other 0. We place it beside this 0. Again, if you can't do the 2 times 0 is 0, you can subtract 0 and go on. But today we're just going to put our 0 here because we know that 2 times 0 is 0. And then put our peg in our game piece in our lovely little battleship. And then we're going to bring down our 2 down to where we're doing our math. We're doing our math right here in this area, so we want to just bring it down. And now we ask ourselves, 2 times what gives us 2? 2 times what gives us 2? And that would be a 1. We know that already. And we can subtract that. Okay? And we have no remaining survivors. So this problem is done. Okay? And that is all there is to doing a decimal. Super cinchy easy. I can put my last peg in my battleship and sink it. I've sunk that battleship. That means I'm a winner. Okay? So easy peasy. You got this. All right, guys. Keep doing math and have a great day.